Hello everyone, my name is Rebecca Harris and I am sharing my presentation for our Project 5 Crisis Communication assignment. I selected the first scenario that we were given, and the case is as follows. More than 24 people have been admitted to the emergency departments in New York City with cases of food poisoning, likely from contaminated milk from local grocery stores. As the assignment outlines, it is my job to develop appropriate communication methods to provide information to 3 different target audiences. You will also find that I could not resist the use of a good pun, and so each of the communication methods for the target audiences has a different title. So you can enjoy those if you'd like. The first target audience is parents of young children, and I entitled it, "Holy Cow! Watch out for expired milk." It is common for young children to drink milk quite often, and parents are the ones that purchase and provide their children with milk. It seemed appropriate to use these parents as a target audience. I developed 2 methods of communication, press release and visual infographics. When food poisoning has been exposed in the past, it is usually displayed by local news stations. I decided to employ this method of communication release since parents are likely to watch the news while caring for their families and their houses. By displaying this warning, this message will reach my target audience and hopefully prevent any further infection cases. I also included the signs and symptoms of food poisoning, as well as the New York City Health Department contact information, so the audience is aware of the symptoms of food poisoning and are provided with a method to obtain help if they contract food poisoning. I also decided to use an infographic for this population. This is the condensed version of the press release, and it highlights the most important information parents need to know about the food poisoning outbreak. These infographics will be displayed in schools, daycare centers, and churches, since these places are often frequented by parents of young children. My second target audience includes the elderly, which are adults over the age of 65, and I entitled it, "It's a Catastrophe." Like children, this population consumes milk and is at risk for health problems due to their lack of proper immune systems. Food poisoning could have a detrimental effect on this population, so I thought it would be relevant to include them as a target audience. Similar to the first target audience, I used a press release. Elderly people will usually watch the news, sometimes even more than once a day. By using this communication method, the audience will receive the information about the health crisis in order to ensure that they do not consume the affected milk brand. Since the news is often repeated throughout the day, the press release will also serve as a reminder to elderly people who may suffer from short-term memory loss. I created an infographic for this population as well. These will be displayed in senior centers and senior living areas in order to reach the target population. I also made sure to include a physical location as a contact source, since most elderly people do not like using phones, laptops, or other forms of electronic communication. My third and final target audience are the supermarkets themselves, and I entitled it, "Move It Off Your Shelves." If these supermarkets have the contaminated milk on their shelves, it is imperative for them to remove it to prevent the spread of food poisoning cases in the New York City area. Similar with the past 2 target audiences, I created a press release for this population as well. These stores need to be aware of the potential threat of food poisoning from their products. The press release will encourage grocery store managers to remove the affected products off their shelves and increase their awareness about the food poisoning cases in the local area. I also decided to use an infographic for this population as well. These will be displayed in supermarkets, at their customer service centers, and in the milk section of the store. This will remind the employees that stock the shelves to look out for contaminated milk, while simultaneously reminding customers not to buy any contaminated milk. These infographics will also demonstrate that the grocery stores are well aware of the health crisis and are making an attempt to prevent any further outbreak of food poisoning. These are my references for the press releases, infographics, and presentation that I created. And as always, I will leave you with my contact information if you have any questions, comments, or concerns about my presentation. Thank you so much for listening.